yesterday was Mental Health Awareness Day here in Toronto, and I just want to give my 2 cents on the topic. I know this is going to be an unpopular opinion, but in my books, something like anxiety and panic attacks, depression, these kinds of things should not qualify as mental health issues, because these are entirely personally chosen issues. These are issues that people choose to have. And what do I mean by that? It might not be a direct choice that you're consciously making, that you're consciously, deciding, oh, that's gonna freak me out. But in many cases, it even is, but it could be related to other habits that you have in your life. So let me give you a little backdrop about myself to explain this perspective. So when I was in my teens and even in my first and partially through my second year of university, I struggled with depression and I struggled with anxiety and I would have panic attacks. And let's talk specifically about my teens first. This was happening regularly, and depression was something that had followed me through since I was like 12, since I first basically began dieting. And what I want to say about it is that it's entirely dependent on diet. These issues come up when we don't consume enough food. Our brains are automatically in that panic state. They're looking for food, and if you're denying yourself food, you're giving yourself contradictory messages. You're saying your body wants to survive, your body wants to thrive, your body wants those energy sources, but your mind is saying no. So you are at a conflict with yourself, and that is never going to end well for you. So that was what induced my anxiety and panic, and that's what got me into the big mess that I got with anorexia and bulimia. And depression was something that came to me basically because I could not move on from some things that I just could not have in life. I wanted to be a volleyball player, and I had busted my ACL. I tore my ACL, which is just the ligament in your knee, and so that basically handicapped me. That gave me like 6 months off from training altogether. I got back and then started training again and then tore it again. So, this time I was shattered, like absolutely shattered. I had nothing that I was kind of going towards in my life. So obviously I became depressed because nothing was motivating me. I had no purpose in my life. I had nothing to wake up for, nothing to get to work for every day, and that is what these people who are suffering depression lack. First of all, it's definitely that they are not consuming enough of the right food calories. Why do I link it to food? Because it is 100% linked to food. In Dr. Ansel Keys' work, The Great Starvation Experiment, he documents how he had chosen the healthiest, most robust men he could find for his starvation experiment. And they were mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, they were solid men, and putting them through these weeks of deprivation, I think it was 1,570 calories a day, it killed these men. And first, of course, mentally. Their motivation dropped. They were no longer interested in caring for themselves. Their hygiene went through the window. They were no longer physically active. They would avoid, any kind of laborious activity, either concentrational or physical. And, that just indicates how related food is to exercise and mental agility and clarity and quickness. And your desire to spend energy comes from your internal abundance of energy, which you have to consistently maintain. How do you maintain that? Through high carb, low fat vegan foods, because those are the foods that are not going to weigh you down. High protein, high fat foods like animal products, they're always going to make you feel tired. And unmotivated, and that's not what you want, because that's what lands you in those depressions and anxieties and all of that crap. And, a lot of women, like myself, a lot of us, not all of you will admit it, but a lot of us struggle with dieting. So, we're taught that the healthy human diet is the standard American diet, including, the 4 groups, animal products. So meat, dairy, eggs, and, then your plant foods. And it's funny that those are like the 4 when 3 of those should not even be in the human diet, because again, they're high fat, high protein, high cholesterol, and what does that mean? That means they don't make you feel good. That means they don't give you straight energy, which is what you're looking for. And, when I started feeding myself better, my life changed. I became more energetic. I suddenly got the drive to shape my life, to decide, hey, I'm gonna own it and take responsibility for it and go and make it into whatever I want it to be. And everyone can get to choose this for themselves. Everyone does choose this for themselves. You either choose it or something else is chosen for you, and you're not really getting to choose what kind of life you want to live and what kind of person you want to be. So, of course, I want to tell you to make the right choice. It starts with what you put in your mouth. It starts with the most basic things. What you put in your mouth. Do you sleep enough? Do you drink enough water? Do you stay active? You have to be active. You cannot be healthy and be not moving. Of course, you can choose not to use your body, but I think that it's absolutely unacceptable for you if you have a working body not to use it. Like, in my opinion, that's so perverted and disgusting, and doesn't mean you're disgusting. Maybe you're on your way getting there. I didn't always exercise. As I said, I went through those periods where I could not physically move myself. I was so unmotivated. I was in bed. I was on the couch just playing video games for months, and so I'm saying I used to be there. And in my first year of university, again, I was under so much stress at home, emotionally and mentally, at school, and I was working a job, and I just had no motivation to exercise. And I felt the worst that I ever felt in my whole life. I was weak. I could not even carry my backpack anymore. I was just so tired and exhausted all the time. I mean, it's not a pleasant place to be at. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because there's nothing unique or abnormal about my situation. No, I never really liked coffee and using it, because I always understood that there was something inherently wrong about using it to live just a regular life. It's different if you're using it once to just like power through an extreme study session or be like extra alert for something that you're doing. Sure, use it once in a balloon, but not daily, and I didn't want to be that kind of person. Everyone around me was taking Ritalin, taking, caffeine tablets, other stimulative drugs, and, in the nighttime they would have to wind down, take some kind of sleep-inducing hormones or actual drugs for it. Like, it's crazy the habits people get into. And I just decided that I was going to prioritize my own health and well-being, and that was going to be the end of the story. And I alleviated myself of all of my troubles, all of the emotional and mental baggage that I had that was holding me back, that I felt holding me back. I'm sure that there's still some left that I'm not even aware of, but for the ones that I was aware of and that were actively holding me where I was, I got rid of them, and you can too. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. I'm nothing special. I'm nothing extraordinary. I'm just a regular, the most average person you'll ever meet. And And if I could get rid of my anxiety, panic attacks, depression, I was diagnosed as a borderline personality disorder. Like, they were thinking if I was bipolar, they wanted to put me on medication. And I said no to all of that because I recognized that I had a choice. I was either going to try to improve my life myself, independent of drugs, independent of someone else's coaching, or I was going to be a victim for the rest of my life, dependent on these drugs, and when I heard about the side effects, it was really, there was really only just one option. And what I want to say to you is that you can choose for yourself at any moment if you want to continue on as you have been doing, suffering depression and all of that, or if you want to finally choose your own health. Make that choice and work towards it daily. Actually practice it. You have to do it every single day to make it a habit, but also to reinforce those positive behaviors in yourself. You will feel better. You will alleviate yourself of depression and anxiety and panic attacks. There's no reason why this should be an item. We need to be focusing on the bigger picture.